Flosstube. This is Katrina, the Crafty Cataloger, coming back to you for my November update. My second try at my November update. I actually recorded this originally on November 30th and had it all edited and was in the process of uploading it to YouTube, and thought I would be a super efficient person and take my SD card out of my computer and get it erased and get the video camera plugged back in so that it could be recharged for the next time I wanted to use it. Bad idea. I guess I assumed when I imported the video files into my video editing software that meant they were on my computer. Turns out they were not. So I lost it all. Lesson learned. Don't do that again. I would like to welcome you back if you've been to visit with me before, and if you're new here, I welcome you as well and hope that you'll find something of interest. I really appreciate those of you who come to spend some time with me, and all the kind comments and likes that I've received on my videos. I would like to say a special thank you to Aviatrix Stitcher, Leah Noel, and to Kathy over at Crafty Cat Stitcher, who both gave me great shout outs, and I really appreciate that. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving. I feel like my hair is doing something funny. And that if you are celebrating Christmas, you are well on your way to being ready. I'm getting close. I think I have almost all of my shopping done, and I have a good share of the wrapping done. So it's just down to the little stuff now. I guess let's get down to business. The first thing that we'll talk about today is cross stitch. This month's Haid focus was Mini Deer Creek, or I should say November's Haid focus was Mini Deer Creek. And I had really hoped that I would be able to get page 2 of that finished. I did make a lot of progress, but I did not make that much progress. I unfortunately don't have a picture of where it was before. I am trying to do better with that. So this month's Haid focus I've already taken a picture of so that I can have one for you next time. I do know that it was up in here somewhere. And so I did get a lot of this done, and I'm getting pretty close to having that second page done, and I'm confident that in the month of January, when this one comes out again, I will be able to get page 2 finished. I'm pretty excited because you can see right there and right there, there's some antlers starting to appear, and that's pretty cool. I still really like this piece. This is on 18 count Ada, the easy grid or easy guide stuff that you can buy from Haid. And I do enjoy having those lines there. They make things much easier to work with. And I do work off my iPad, so that helps a lot too. I feel like my lighting is kind of messed up. Just a second. The other thing I worked on this month, I did do a bit of work on Glory of Autumn. I'm not sure that you would be able to tell how much work I've done. Mostly I've added a lot more color to this tree, the colored one, and I think I added a good portion of this green one. I have to admit that working on this, I can't do it for long periods of time because it makes my fingers ache. It's a dimensions kit. So this is on the, I think it's 18 count Ada, or I think it's 18 count, that's provided with the kit. And you know, many times they're asking you to do 4 strands of floss, and when you get in an area like this where you've already put multiple strands of floss through there and you're trying to shove several more, it just makes my fingers ache. So I can't work on it for great lengths of time, which is fine, and I probably won't get that one out again until summertime. I have other things I want to work on for a while. I told you I was going to start some ornaments out of the 2018 Just Cross Stitch magazine ornament issue, and I did. I am not doing well holding that, am I? And the light really does not want to cooperate today. Not sure that's any better. That one is completely finished. I totally copied Tiffany from Express Life Tifa. She did hers on navy blue and she showed it on Instagram, and I really liked how that looked, and was going to totally copy her. And I went and looked and I didn't have any navy blue in my stash, so I had this hunter green and I thought it looked nice on there. I've changed all the colors. This is the second one. This one is not completely finished. I still have to add, there's a present down at the bottom and a couple more limbs. I have to admit, I like this one when I see it in the magazine, but I didn't really like stitching it. Wow, this is so hard. And then I have another one of the first one started. This one is, no, pardon the Grinch. This one is close to being done. I have to finish the tree and add the gifts. And then I have a spot down here for another one. My original plan was to do 4 of them, and I was going to give one of each design to the 2 girls in my department at work. And I've since decided that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give them each, one girl's going to get this one, the other girl's going to get this one, and then I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do this one and one more exactly like this. I'm going to give these 2 to my nieces. I just feel like one ornament is probably more than enough to give to the girls at work, especially because I also have something else to go with their gift. I have a small magnetic bookmark that I'm going to give each one of them that I picked up at a quilt show this summer. And so I think one ornament is plenty, and then I'm going to give the other ornaments, like I said, to my nieces. Next few years they're going to be at that point where they will be having their own tree and they might like to have some stuff to put on them. The other thing I was going to show you today is something that I stitched actually last summer, summer before last, really, summer of 2017. This is Jeans and Weenies, and this is by Plum Street Samplers. There's the pattern right there. There's a whole set of these Weenies patterns, and my sister-in-law, who is one of my best friends, has a dachshund named Penny, and so when I saw this I instantly thought, she needs that. So I made this for her, and last Christmas she got it just folded up. It was all stitched, but it wasn't mounted on this board, which I just did this week. I fully intended, I gave it to her and I took it back and I said, you know, obviously I need to finish finishing it for you so you can actually hang it up. And I fully intended to have it back to her so that she could hang it up this year on the 4th of July. I'm a slacker. So the plan is that this year she will get it back in a fully finished format. My plan is to cut out another piece of board about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch wider than this piece all the way around, cover that in some patriotic fabric, and then I'm going to mount, then I'm going to put washers on the back of that. Thank you, Priscilla and Chelsea, for that brilliant idea. And I found some barnwood at Hobby Lobby last weekend, and I'm going to make a plaque and put the magnets on barnwood. And so the plan is that this year for Christmas she will get the whole thing in hangable format back. And I'm also hoping that over time I can do most of the rest of the series for her. I have the pattern for Halloweenies. I need to order some fabric today for that. I'd like to start that yet this month, but I honestly don't think I could get it done by Christmas. But if I could at least start it and know that she would have it by next Halloween. So she would have this one and then she could change it out for Halloween. And maybe by Halloween I'll have time to do another one and she'll have the next one after that even. I just think they're really cute, and being as she has a dachshund, I think they fit her decor quite well, or they'll fit in her house well. Next month I plan to work on next month. It's really this month. See, I'm still on November 30th. This month, December, my plans for cross stitching would be to work on Mini Village Bookstore. Sadly, what are we? It's December 10th? Haven't touched it yet. Really hoping that this afternoon I will have some time that I can do that. So Mini Village Bookstore, finish up those Christmas ornaments and get them fully finished, and then probably start Halloweenies. I had originally thought that perhaps I would also work on Every Bird Welcome, but I'm not sure if that will happen or not. We'll have to see. I do have 2 weeks off at the end of the month, so hopefully I'll have a lot of crafting time then. Next up, quilting. Last time we met, I showed you that I had gotten 4 rows of my cubbyhole quilt put together, but that the last row needed to be fixed. I haven't had a chance to fix it yet, and I have since packed that away. I am not going to work on that again until after I get my niece's graduation quilt finished. This is the pattern that I am going to do for her. Honestly, I will try to find the picture that I took in the quilt store of the quilt they had hanging on the wall. That one was also a patriotic quilt, and I am obviously not making her a patriotic quilt for her graduation gift. But that is the pattern I'm using. I just really feel like there's a huge shadow on my face, but maybe there's not. I'm also going to add borders to mine, and the one in the quilt shop had borders. So I have made some progress, at least. I cut out the strips and I sewed the strips together and I have them ironed. So I'm hoping today to spend even just a half an hour, and these strips then have to be cut into 6.5 inch chunks. So here's one set of strips. It's a purpley mauve with yellow, and then here's another different, and the yellow also has kind of that fan look to it. I need to find one more color that will go with these two pinky purpley colors. I need to find time to go to the quilt shop in the town I work in and see if they have something that will work. Then the other ones are going to be blue and yellow. And so this blue is like a grunge blue. And then I have the yellow in between. Oops. This one is kind of a denim. A light denim color with the yellow. And this one it's like a blue crosshatch. The yellow. So, like I said, my next step is to cut these into chunks. So they should end up being 6.5 by 6.5, and then you take them and alternate them back and forth to make this, I don't know, it almost looks like a basket weave to me, pattern. And, oh, just a second, I will show you my border fabric. And my niece knows about this quilt because she has an older sister who also got one, so I didn't even try to keep this one a secret, and she actually helped pick out one of these border fabrics. This is going to be one of the borders, probably the skinnier of the two borders. And this one is the one she picked out, and this will be the other border. Very cute. Pinky purpley flowers and blue flowers on a navy blue background. So, like I said, I'm hoping to do maybe a half hour on that today. I sort of enjoy quilting, but I don't love quilting as much as I love sitting in my chair and cross-stitching. And I also find that I can't sit at the sewing machine for long periods of time. I don't have the best setup. I sit on a stool because that's what I have. My sewing machine is actually in a corner in our bedroom. And, you know, it works, but it's probably not the best for my posture, and I also get frustrated easily when things don't line up. So I would like to cut them apart into the chunks today and maybe try to start getting some of them sewn together, but I don't think I can go very far until I get that third color, because I think I need to make sure that I lay it out ahead of time before I start really seriously sewing. But I am cautiously optimistic that once I get that third color and get those strips, that strip done, and get to that point, that it will hopefully go together pretty quickly. My goal is to still have that to the quilters by late February, early March, so that I can have it ready well before her graduation open house. And then at that point I will get the cubbyhole quilt back out. I really want to get that one finished. I've been working on that one what seems like forever, and I have another kit thing that I bought at a quilt show maybe close to 2.5, 3 years ago now, that I intend to make as a wall hanging to go right there, because that wall is very bare and I would really like to get on that. So anyway, plans for this next month quilting wise will be the niece's quilt. That takes us to, oh wait, no, I have one more thing to show, and I'm calling it quilting even though I'm not exactly sure it's quilting. It's probably more sewing, but it had batting, so I'm counting it as quilting. My sister-in-law messaged me a few months ago with a picture of some bowl cozies, and she said, hey, can you make me some of these? And I said, it's a square, how hard can it be? It turns out it's a little harder than I thought it would be, but I am so darned excited for Christmas because my sister-in-law is getting a set of 4 bowl cozies. Here is, 2 of them look like this. 2 of them have it's a map of Middle Earth inside, and then outside is this Hobbit fabric. This way it says Hobbit. So there are 2 like that, and then there are 2 with the Hobbit fabric on the inside, and with just a brown print on the outside, which you can't, oh there you can see the brown print. So I'm extremely excited to give her this. It took me 2 or 3 tries to actually get one that actually looked like you could put a bowl in it. I still have trouble sewing a straight line. And then when you add the batting in there, I'm still learning. But I'm excited. She is a big Hobbit fan, so I can't wait to see the look on her face when she opens these and realizes that not only did I make her bowl cozies, but I made them with Hobbit fabric. So those have been my sewing and quilting fun for the last little bit. That leads us to knitting. I have been continuing to work on the baby blanket for my coworker. And here is the stitch marker. Here's the one from the last video. And then here's the one from November 30th. So I've actually even made quite a bit of progress since my last attempt at videoing. But I've made quite a bit of progress since the last time you saw it. So it is getting quite long. Quite long. I think I have another 10-12 inches to go. I mentioned that I was going to be going to a conference in St. Louis, Missouri, and that this would make good car knitting, and it did. And I will pop in a couple of pictures from our trip somewhere, probably right about here. If any of you ever have a chance and you're in St. Louis, Missouri, and you have a chance to stop into the Union Station Hotel, I believe is what it was called, I think you could walk in and just look at the lobby. It is absolutely stunning. It is a gorgeous building. It is the original train station that was built in St. Louis, you know, back in the, I think, 1800s. And it's all been redone. And it is just a beautiful, beautiful building. And like I said, I believe you could, I'm pretty sure you could walk in and just look at the lobby, if nothing else. It sounds like they're trying to turn it into not only the hotel that is already there and the conference center, but they had signs up that they're in the process of planning an aquarium. And so I think they're going to really try to make it a real destination spot. I really want to try to get that finished up, that blanket finished up by Christmas time. Her due date is early January, and I would like to be able to take it to her right after Christmas and give it to her. So Christmas Day, when we're driving to see family, I will probably work on it a lot again that day. I try to put in a couple of rows every day if I can. I didn't do any yesterday. But I will definitely work on that. The other project I am working on knitting wise is this scarf. This is called a candle flame pattern. I'm not sure if I can show this to its best. I really love this pattern. I think it's super pretty. This scarf, this is going to be a scarf. The intent is for it to go on my winter coat, which actually is probably pretty close to this dark gray that you see in here. It's just your typical dark gray wool pea coat that you can buy at Kohl's or Penny's or wherever. And I really just want this on there as decoration. I have no intention or no belief that this will in any way keep me warm. I just want it to hang on the front of my coat and look nice. I did not really notice so much when I bought this yarn. I didn't notice the all those little specks of color. I mean, I must have noticed them somewhat, but I didn't really notice them until I started knitting, and they just keep popping out, and I think they are so pretty and so cute. So I bought this yarn at a store in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Just a second. See, I'm very unprepared because I did this all at once already, and this time I'm just not as with it. Anyway, I have two nieces I've mentioned. Actually, I have three, but two that are sisters. And the younger one, her boyfriend is a freshman at Western Michigan University, which is in Kalamazoo. And she's a high school senior. She wanted to go see her boyfriend and her mom, who we are like best friends. And I normally meet a couple times a year in Saginaw and go shopping, because Saginaw's almost halfway in between where we live. Well, so my sister-in-law said, would you be willing to go to Kalamazoo and go shopping this time instead, so I can take Jay over there and she can see the boyfriend? And I said, sure, I don't mind. And when I actually Google mapped it, it was like 10 minutes more to get to Kalamazoo from my house than it was to Saginaw, so it was really no skin off my back to drive in that direction. So I looked up to see if there was a cross stitch store or a yarn store over there, and lo and behold, there's one that says it's a yarn store and a cross stitch store. It was way more yarn store than it was cross stitch store. They had a small section of the store that was cross stitch, and they did not have a whole lot there. If you wanted a few basic accessories, or they did have some patterns, you could find them there, but it was way more yarn store. Anyway, bought that yarn, and I bought 2 other yarns. So we go over there and we pick up the boyfriend, and I'm thinking that we are going to drop the 2 kids off at the mall, and then my sister-in-law and I thought we would go find this yarn store. No. We all went to the yarn store. And I have to say, my niece and her boyfriend were the best. They were so nice, and they just hung out at the yarn store, looked around. Crazy old Aunt Katie at the yarn store, and they didn't even bat an eye. They just were like, oh, it's fine. They were looking around. I was like, you guys are the best. Because my kids probably would have been like, Mom, let's go. Anyway, I also bought this yarn. This is probably not the best option. What can I put up here to help with the light? This yarn is a nice blue. I had shown you previously it's not helping at all, Paris and Berlin pattern, which was a cowl that looks like a scarf, and that's what I bought that for. I'm not sure yet if that's really what I'm going to use it for, but we will see. And then I bought this, which has all sorts of neat colors in it. I don't know how y'all do that and get it to help with the colors. It has purples and greens and browns. I think this was what I bought to do the Antarctic shawl that Kate from Kate's Crafting Corner is going to be doing as a sale with one of her friends, and I was going to tag along. 2 of them, you can tell, are caked up. The lady at the store was very kind and, offered to do that for me. And she was caking up them, and I said, you know what, leave one. This one she left, because I did buy a Swift and ball winder a while back, and I have used it once, and I'm not sure that I used it correctly. So I said, leave one of them so I can take it home and practice. I haven't tried, obviously, again, because why bother to ball it up when I don't have time right now to start another project. I'm also trying really hard to limit myself to 2 knitting projects on the needles at a time, and I really don't know why, but I've given myself that self-imposed rule, but I have. I think because I don't want to overwhelm myself. I used to be a one at a time cross stitcher until I discovered Flosstube and all these Facebook cross stitch related groups, and realized that some people had many multiple projects on the go at a time. And I'm also kind of trying to limit myself there, just because I could probably start stuff all the time and then nothing would ever get finished, and that would start to bother me, I think. I had also started a hat when I last spoke to you, or told you I was going to start a hat. I started said hat. I got said hat all the way to the very end, and then I screwed it up, and so I've pulled it back, and it's actually, I think it's right here. It is. I pulled it back a ways. Now it's just a mess. I did make the brim too long. I didn't want it to have a fold-up brim at all, and I think this is long enough it's going to have to be folded up, but I don't know. I still hope that maybe in the next couple of weeks I can figure out how to get this back on the needles and fix it, because obviously I put a lot of work into that already and I like it, and I intended for it to be as kind of an add-on gift for my nephew for Christmas. His school colors are red and white, so I thought a red hat would be nice, but that kind of went wrong. So like I said, hopefully my plans for knitting, hopefully get that back on and finish it up. If I can get it back on the needles, it should not take me that long to finish it. Work on this scarf some more. I would love to have it done so that I can wear it around Christmas, but it'll get done when it gets done. This is what I take to work with me every day, and I work on it a little bit at my lunch hour, and sometimes I work on it other times, but most of the time just then. And then the blanket, which is great car knitting, and I do try to work on here at home once in a while. And then if I can get one or two of those things done, I would start probably the Paris and Berlin cowl, but I'm not sure. Start something else. So that takes me into reading, I guess. I don't really have anything to share in paper crafting, so we're not going to cover that this month. Books. The book I want to share with you today was called Marilla of Green Gables, and it was written by Sarah McCoy. I will put a picture of it up here, a picture of the cover. I don't have it anymore. I had to return it to the library. If you are a Green Gables fan, an Anne of Green Gables fan, such as myself, I think you would enjoy this book. Sarah McCoy has written a novel that tells the story of Marilla and obviously also Matthew as they are growing up at Green Gables. And the novel stops before Anne comes in the picture. I felt like she did a very nice job writing this novel. The story was believable. The story... You worry when somebody writes a story like this because they are not the original author, so obviously they do not know what was going through the original author's mind or how the original author thought these characters' lives were before they wrote the novels that are well loved and well known. But I feel that Sarah McCoy did a very good job of writing a story about how Marilla and Matthew grew up and how they came, how they grew into adults. That was very believable and drew enough on the original Anne of Green Gables series with enough details that you could be like, yeah, I believe that this story, I believe this is how the story could have played out. And so I thought it was well done. So if you are an Anne of Green Gables fan, I would recommend Marilla of Green Gables by Sarah McCoy. I do enjoy that series. I own almost all of what Ellen Montgomery wrote, and I have the entire Anne of Green Gables video series, the one done, I think it's by Sullivan Productions out of Canada. And it's one of my favorites, and I actually did just rewatch the first two. I didn't watch the third one. The third one I like, but it's not my favorite. The first two are my favorite of the series. And I did just recently rewatch those. I also recently watched the Anne with an E that was on Netflix. I was less than impressed. Just my personal opinion. I did watch it. I have not decided if I will watch future seasons that may come out, but I was less than impressed. We'll just leave it at that. So I guess the last thing I'd like to do is take a couple of minutes to just give a couple of shout outs to some people I enjoy. My subscription list on YouTube is quite long, so I could never name them all, but I'd like to name a couple of my favorites. I do wish that YouTube would make it so you could like star certain people, have them at the top of the list, because we all have our favorites, and that's not meant to diss anyone. You just connect with different people in different ways. And although I enjoy watching all the people on my list, there's some I enjoy watching more. So I'd just like to shout out a couple of them. Kate from Kate's Crafting Corner. Love watching her videos. I get excited when I see one, and I always make sure that I'm watching hers at a point in time when I can actually focus on that and not kind of be multitasking. She loves to plan, and she gets really excited over how she's going to get everything done, and I love watching that, and it's motivating, and she does some beautiful stuff. She has some beautiful cross stitch going, and she also has she's doing some beautiful crochet stuff, and she just learned to knit, and she's doing an excellent job with that. And her latest obsession is her happy planner, and it's fun just watching her put together her spreads and see how that works. I have bought a little bit of happy planner stuff. I'm not going to buy the happy planner itself, but I have been using some of the stickers and whatnot to decorate my calendar planner thing that I use, and so that's fun. Margaret from Creative Madness Mama is another one. She is the whole reason I ever found Flosstube and Heaven and Earth Designs. So I blame her for my Flosstube addiction. But I enjoy seeing what Margaret is working on, and I am always amazed beyond belief at what she is able to accomplish. She has 4 small children, and she is homeschooling. And so the fact that she ever finds time to put in a stitch just simply amazes me. There's a lot of them that I enjoy, and I think I'll stick to those 2 for today, and then maybe next time I'll list a couple of others of my favorites. I hope everyone has a great December. If you are someone who celebrates Christmas, I wish you the merriest of Christmases, and I hope everyone has the happiest of New Year's. I will come back to you after the new year and share what I was able to accomplish and what my plans are for 2019. Until 2019 then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.